Hello, everybody. In today's lecture, we'll be talking about the good laboratory practices and bioethics. How are they interconnected and how they are managed within a system? As we know by now, biotechnology can provide significant benefits to life. However, they carry with them certain responsibilities also, these technologies. Any decision to commercialize a biotechnology derived product or therapy will have to undergo careful scrutiny or consideration of the risks and benefits before that technology is out in the market. And in any case, only the potential or the ability to perform a particular activity will not justify its purpose. So, there should be a meaning to this activity of this technology, and care must be taken to analyze the positives and negatives of this technology. It is only then can it be accepted according to the law book or the rule book. Thereby, a few principles and processes will govern these efforts to carry out research and development, or R&D as we can call it, and also to provide solutions to various problems by the means of biotechnology. So, what are these guiding principles? That any biotech firm or biotech laboratory must look out for while it is carrying out its research. It should have the highest priority on safety and efficacy of the biotech products. As I mentioned earlier, the biotech product must not only be in a position to perform, it should be in a position to safely perform. So, the priority is always on safety and then the efficacy of the product. And the laboratory or the institution where these biotech product creation is happening, they should support to the government agencies in safeguarding the health and well-being throughout the world. In today, by the virtue of globalization, what is produced in India can be available across the world. And if this product is not safe in India, it is definitely not safe elsewhere either. So, once the priority on safety is confirmed and followed thoroughly, it will also support the government agencies in safeguarding the health and well-being across the world. Additionally, these laboratories or companies must be open for feedback from the public. So you should take public opinions, you should take their reviews on the product to understand the daily functioning and to understand the requirements of the people and to analyze the extent of safety the product is offering, and then respond to the concerns, be it according to the social norms or the ethical or the technical application of the biotechnology that goes into that product. For all of this, it must be based on the ethical and scientific considerations for the product modification or development. which is happening based on the public feedback. Similarly, there should be a participation in the public discussions and professional forums. So this will not only help the company or the laboratory reach out to the people, it will also encourage formulation of science-based policies and regulations. And this again will serve in the public interest and also act as an ethical priority. So when all of these are followed, when you are helping the government agency and we are also looking into the scientific and ethical basis of any solution, we will also be wanting to comply with the applicable legislation and regulatory requirements of that country where this product development is happening. So this legislation and regulatory requirements vary from country to country. It may vary from state to state also. It may vary from city to city also. So care must be taken by the laboratory to ensure that they abide by the rules and regulations of that locality or the local area. And there must be a support towards accepting ethical and professional standards that are followed in research, development, manufacture and also the sale of products. So this is how exactly the GLP plays an important role in biotechnology. So the ethical and professional standards are helped to meet by GLP or the good laboratory practices, which are followed during research, development, manufacture and also the sale of products. Furthermore, such laboratories or researchers must have a sensitivity and responsiveness towards the conduct of human trials. And while they do this, they should make sure to protect the life on which this experiment is being conducted, apart from that person's health, privacy and dignity. Furthermore, there should be a protection of the integrity of the data that is obtained from these studies, and there should not be any leakage which can affect the privacy or dignity of the individual. Similarly, a conscientious use of animals must be carried out in research only when there are no valid scientific alternatives that exist. This will eventually minimize the use of animals in research. However, if there is no alternative and if the animals are to be used, this will also make sure to treat them humanely and with the highest standards of care. And lastly, any of the researchers must keep in mind to protect the environment and maintain the biological diversity of our planet. And this can be carried out by maintaining the global biodiversity by the means of sustainable use of the global resources. So all of this shall remain the guiding principles of any laboratory where biotechnology is being carried out. Now moving on to the guiding principles of bioethics. Generally, bioethics, as I've told you earlier, is a very vast term. And in order to ensure that a laboratory is following the bioethics or the bioethics norms, there has to be an appropriate team of advisors who guide that particular laboratory. So the bioethics guiding principles are put forth with the advice of appropriate scientific and ethical advisors. And this will be to assess the potential risks and benefits of a proposed R&D program. So whenever there is something new that is coming up, or whenever that laboratory is planning something new, this agenda must be put forth in front of the advisory committee meetings, and they will analyze the situation on how important it is and how beneficial it is to the society, and finally how risky it is, and what are the shortcomings of the proposed plan. And whenever they do this analysis of the potential risks and benefits, the major focus will always be on minimizing the potential risks to the individual subjects or persons. This could be either way. If this individual person or subject is a part of the clinical trial or the human trial, care must be taken to minimize the risk to that person. Or if this individual subject or person is the consumer of the biotech product, there again the risks must be reduced to the best extent possible. And simultaneously, the ethical advisors and scientific advisors will also look into enhancing the potential benefits to the persons who are either being under trial or the consumers of this product. So this is a two-way thing where the risk is reduced and the benefits are increased to such a way that the risk factors must be proportionate to or outweighed in comparison to the potential benefits of the biotech product. So this is how the good laboratory practices and bioethics direct a company or a laboratory or an institution in performing its biotechnological experiments. So with this, I would like to conclude today's lecture. Thank you all.